September 2025, me and my group member have visited the coffee factory, which is one of the oldest and most established coffee producers in Tenom Sabah. It is founded by Mr. Yolong Bong in 1960, and it is widely known for preserving traditional Tenom coffee using the roasting method. And this method produces a bean grounds coffee and instant coffee. And during our field trip, we were only able to observe the packaging process directly due to safety restriction in the roasting and manufacturing areas. So to complement our visit, additional information about the roasting techniques, products, manufacturing and distribution was gathered through online research.
In the production process, there are two stages, which the first stage is the coffee cultivations and the second stage is the coffee roasting. In the first stage, the first process is hand picking, which the coffee cherry will be handpicked from its tree. So this process focuses on the coffee robusta type. The coffee cherry will be peeled off and it will change the coffee cherry into a green bean. This is the mining process. After that, it will went through to the drying process where the outer covering of the fruit will be removed from the berry, leaving only its seeds, which also known as the bean. And then this bean will be dried under the sun after being sold. Also, this process is a bit slower, but it will result the fastest way to get its product. So after it dried, it will be easier to peel off the skin from its seeds, which this process will take 2 to 4 weeks. Now, moving on to the second stage, which the next process is grinding. These beans will be ground into its own specific fineness, whether it is raw or in powder, based on the required products. And finally, the beans will be packed in packaging process, which now then will be delivered to sell its product.
On this slide, we are going to explore the key chemistry behind coffee, especially Robusta coffee. First, let's look at the main chemical components found inside the bean. To begin with, carbohydrates make up about 50% of the bean. These sugars are important because during roasting, they undergo the Maillard reactions and caramelization, which create coffee brown color and subtle sweetness. Next, protein and amino acids also play a major role. They react with sugars through the Maillard reactions, producing many of the aroma compounds and brown pigments that give coffee its roasted character. In addition, the beans contain 1 to 2% caffeine, which acts as a stimulant. It also contributes to bitterness and part of the coffee aroma. We also have trigonelline, around 1%. During roasting, it breaks down to form vitamin B3 and help develop acidity and flavor. Now that we understand the components, let's move on to the key reactions during roasting. Firstly, the Maillard reactions occur mainly between 140 and 165 degrees Celsius. This reaction produces melanoidins, which provide dark color, viscosity, and body. Pyrazines, which create nutty, earthy, and roasted aroma, very typical of the Robusta coffee. Secondly, we have the Schrecker degradation, which happen together with the Maillard pathway. This reaction breaks down amino acid into aromatic aldehyde, which are key contributor to coffee aroma. At the same time, it produces carbon dioxide, which builds internal pressure in the bean, helping it crack and release aroma. Thirdly, we have chlorogenic acid degradation, which since Robusta contains high CGA, heating breaks it down into quinic acid, a compound that gives bitterness and astringency, especially in dark roast. Finally, let's connect this reaction to the final product characteristic. As the result of its chemistry, the high caffeine content gives Robusta its sharp bitterness and strong stimulant. Furthermore, pyrazines created during roasting provide the distinct nutty and roasted aroma. At the same time, the formations of quinic acid strengthens the bitterness, which is the signature of traditional Sabah charcoal roasted Robusta. Overall, Understanding these chemical components and reactions is important because it helps control the flavor, aroma, and sensitivity quality of the final coffee. That's the key chemistry behind Robusta coffee.
Hello, I am Dayang NABILA and I will be covering the advantages and disadvantages of the Yit Foh Coffee Factory. Here, the main advantages lie in its unique product and heritage. Yit Foh maintains a unique dynastic flavor by using traditional rubber woods fire roasting, which has secured strong customer loyalty. Economically, the factory is significant. This is because as the oldest in Sabah, it drives the economy and supports the local community by purchasing harvests from small-scale growers. Furthermore, they have diversified into tourism with their coffee park and introduced modern products to attract new, younger drinkers. However, there are notable disadvantages. Operationally, the traditional method is challenging to scale up and can make maintaining product consistency difficult compared to industrial automation. In terms of supply chain risks, the reliance on small local growers leaves the factory vulnerable to agricultural issues like poor weather. Finally, looking ahead, the company requires stronger government support for funding and training to elevate the entire Tenom coffee industry. It must also constantly manage the risk of losing its traditional identity while adapting to modern market demands.
During our visit to the Yit Foh Coffee Factory, we learned about the full coffee production process from harvesting and drying the beans to roasting, grinding, and packaging. The factory staff explained how quality control is maintained at every stage, and we saw how traditional practices are combined with modern technology to produce consistent, high-quality coffee. Overall, the visit helped us understand the hard work, precision, and expertise involved in bringing coffee from farm to cup. Moving forward, we hope the factory continues to expand its sustainable practices, preserve traditional roasting methods, and offer more educational programs for visitors. We also recommend exploring eco-friendly packaging, further improving energy efficiency in production, and promoting local coffee culture to a wider audience.
Now, I will cover our second location, which is the Taman Pertanian Sabah or Sabah Agriculture Park. Let's begin with the overview and location shown at the bottom left. The park is situated in Tenom, Sabah, Malaysia. It is vast in size, covering approximately 200 hectares, making it one of the largest garden parks in Malaysia. It was established in 2000 and is partly managed by the Sabah Agriculture Department. Moving to the top right, the park's main business is based on a tripartite focus, which are conservation, education, and recreation or tourism. These three areas form its key activities. For conservation, the park is home to the Native Orchid Center, which houses 350 species of orchids, and a recognized global bee research center. For education, the park provides crucial training in fields like agriculture, horticulture, and animal husbandry. Finally, for tourism, it features themed attractions like the ornamental gardens and crops museums, offering visitors activities like trekking and accommodations for a full experience.
We were first introduced to the fruit plants, and Taman Pertanian Sabah has a diverse collection. These are some of the fruits we were introduced to. Each fruit plant has distinct features, different leaf shape, fruit textures, colors, and growth habits. Seeing them up close gives us a clearer understanding of how tropical fruit trees are cultivated and how they contribute to local food resources. Next, we explored the herbs section, which included common culinary and medicinal herbs. One example we saw was budina, mint. Herbs like budina are known for their refreshing aroma, usefulness in cooking, and several health benefits. The herb garden showed how easy it is to grow these plants at home, as they usually require simple care, partial shade, and moist soil. This section highlighted the importance of herbs in daily life, from food flavoring to traditional remedies. After the herbs, we were introduced to Colyne bee farming. Taman Pertanian Sabah also rears stingless bees in specially designed wooden hives. Colyne bees plays an important role in pollination, supporting the growth of many plant species in the park. They also produce madu colyne, a type of honey that is known for its antioxidant properties and higher acidity compared to regular honey. Learning about colyne farming helped us see the connection between plants, pollinators, and sustainable agriculture. Our final category was the orchids. These are some of the orchids that we encountered during the visit. We were shown different orchids varieties with unique colors, petal patterns, and shapes. Orchids are well-loved ornamental plants, but they require careful care, proper shade, good air circulation, and just the right amount of moisture. Through this section, we learn how orchids are propagated, how they attach to host trees, and why they are considered one of the most valuable ornamental species in Malaysia.
Next, I'll be explaining the chemical structures, properties, and industrial applications of major pigments found in Bixa aurelana. As you can see here in this picture, it has bright red spiky fruits and contains seeds that are rich in natural colorants, mainly abixin and orbixin, which exist in both cis and trans configurations. These compounds are widely used in foods, cosmetics, and seasonings. First, we have Z-vixin, which is the main pigment found naturally in the seeds of Bixa aurelana. It gives a bright orange-red color and is oil-soluble, which means it dissolves well in fats. However, it is less stable, especially towards heat and light. Because of its oil solubility and vibrant color, Z-vixin is usually used in cosmetic products such as lipstick. Next is Ibixin, which is formed when Z-vixin is exposed to heat, light, or during a certain extraction process. Compared to Z-vixin, it is more thermally stable, but still oil soluble. And it still shows a slightly different color tone. And Ibixin is commonly used to color fat-rich food like margarine, butter, and cheese. Moving on to Enorbixin, a water-soluble pigment. Norbixin is formed when bixin undergoes saponification, which removes the methyl ester group. Enorbixin is more stable compared to its cis form and water-soluble, so it mixes easily with beverages and aqueous food products. In industry, enorbixin is often found in processed annatto colors used in snacks, beverage, and processed foods. Finally, there is Z-norvixin, which is also formed when Z-vixin after saponification. Its characteristics include water solubility, just like other norvixin derivatives, but slightly less stable compared to the transformed enorvixin. Z-norvixin is typically used in seasoning, powdered mix, and applications where water-soluble pigments are needed. Next, I'll be presenting about kelulut bees and the unique characteristic of their honey, also known as pot honey. Kelulut bees are stingless bees with a small body length of about 3 to 5 millimeters, and they produce honey inside their special structures made from a mixture of propolis and wax called cerumen. This honey is well known for its medicinal values and its sweet, sour taste. So let's start with the composition. Kelulut honey is mainly composed of sugars, including maltose, which is found in high amounts, fructose, glucose, and sucrose, but in lower amounts. Besides sugars, this honey is rich in bioactive compounds such as phenolic, flavonoids, and carotenoids. And these compounds are responsible for the honey's strong antioxidant and antimicrobial properties. Kelulut honey also contains important nutrients such as ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, proline, and essential amino acid. And these nutrients contribute to its health benefits and biological activities. Kelulut honey has several unique properties. It exhibits strong antioxidant activity due to its high phenolic content. It has a low pH, which makes it naturally antimicrobial, and it has a distinct sour taste that differentiates it from a regular honey. It also has prebiotic potential thanks to oligosaccharides that help support gut health. Kelulut honey also used across multiple industries due to its functional properties. In food industry, it acts as natural preservative, edible coating for fruits and seafood, ingredient in functional fruits, health drinks and nutraceuticals, natural acidic flavors enhancer in certain food products, pharmaceutical and health. And in health sector, it is used to produce wound healing gel, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidants, cosmetic, and personal care, agriculture, and post-harvest.
Now moving on to the advantage and disadvantage of Taman Pertanian Sabah. So the first advantage is biodiversity spot, which the park house over 2,000 plant species from Malaysia and also from abroad, including exotic flowers and fruits from Asia, Africa, and South America. It also spread across 500 degrees, which features 20 mini gardens showcasing plants by family or its characteristic. The second advantage is for educational and research purpose, which it serves as botanical research center and conservation hub, preserving Sabah's natural plant diversity while educating others about its flora. And the third advantage is tourism appeal, which Taman Pertanian Sabah, based on Jabatan Pertanian website, it lists as listed in the Paradise Found. This Taman Pertanian Sabah also offers some shelters and dormitories, camping sites, halls, restaurants, and guided tours, making it suitable for family trips, school, and ecotourism. And it also serves as a scenic landscape, which provides a tranquil environment with theme gardens, like tropical greenery, ideal for relaxations and photography. Now moving on to the disadvantage of Taman Pertanian, which its accessibility, located about 190 km from Kota Kinabalu, which considered as the main town in Sabah, and about 15 kilometers from Tenom town. So the travel time can be time-consuming and inconvenient for casual tourists. And its underrated attraction is people often mistakenly assume it's just a farming activity, so it suffers from low awareness and limited promotions compared to the other Sabah attractions. So another disadvantage is its maintenance, which the Taman Pertanian Sabah has a vast area with diverse plant species requires high upkeep and consistent care, which can be difficult to sustain. And based on the weather, as it is considered as an auto park, visits are affected by the rainy seasons and hot weather, which may reduce comfort and accessibility to some of the species. So, other than that, it has limited international recognitions, despite being released in a prestigious garden book. It still has the rest popular among virgin tourist sites, overshadowed by Sabah's beaches and wildlife parks.
In conclusion, our visit to Taman Pertanian Sabah gave us a deeper understanding of plant diversity, agriculture, and conservation. The park features many different plant zones, including tropical fruits, ornamentals, herbs, bamboo, cactus, and native plant collection. Through this area, we were able to see the important agriculture practices such as crop cultivation, sustainable farming, and proper plant management. This helped us connect what we learned in the classroom to the real example in the agriculture and plant-based industry. Overall, the field trip provided valuable hands-on learning about agriculture in Sabah. It also highlighted the importance of conservation and the responsible use of natural resources. Most importantly, the visit strengthened our understanding of how agriculture supports food security, industry, and environmental sustainability. In summary, the trip increased our appreciation for sustainable agriculture practice and showed us why they are essential for our future.